Hi, I'm Mike Bellevue, and today, instead of talking about guns, as we usually do, I want to talk about field gear. I want to talk about gun belts and holsters for field use. Now, I love finely crafted leather gun belts and holsters, and I've got plenty of them. I use them for concealed carry, I use them for competition, and for general range use. But if I'm knocking around out in the woods, I don't want to be carrying my guns in leather. I go a different way, and I'll show you what I use. If I'm carrying a handgun out in the woods, it is most likely one of these two guns. On top is my EAA Witness in 10 millimeter, and on the bottom is a Smith & Wesson Model 13 in 357 Magnum. And each of these guns has characteristics that make it a good field gun. Number one, they are chambered in powerful enough calibers to be able to do some good. Number two, they each have rubber grips, and that means that you can hold on to this gun even when it's raining or if you're sweaty. The barrels are relatively short, which means that if you're in a very close quarter situation, let's say you're attacked by a bear, in the unlikely event that that would happen, you are going to be able to move that gun and press it up against your target. So those are all good reasons for carrying these. Now, this Model 13 is probably my most often carried gun out in the field. It's excellent. The 357 Magnum chambering is very versatile, and it's heavy enough to be able to do some good against anything you're going to run up on, especially at close quarters. Now, whether or not you're going to carry a handgun when you're in the field, that's something that you've got to decide for yourself. And I'm not going to try to convince you, but I will tell you two stories. Number one, a friend of mine many years ago was hunting, and he was in a tree blind, and a bear came right up the tree after him. His rifle held 3 shots, and he managed to stop the bear with his third shot about a foot before it got under the tree stand itself. Right after that, he went out and bought a handgun for hunting because sometimes you need it. It's unlikely, but when you need it, you're going to need it right then. Now, you might say, really, what are the odds of being attacked by a bear? And I would admit that they are fairly small. If it happens and you're not prepared, you'll still be pretty unhappy. But the odds of being attacked by a bear might be small, but you are 4 or 5 times more likely to accidentally stumble on somebody's illegal marijuana growing operation, particularly if you live east of the Mississippi River or on the West Coast, and you spend any amount of time hiking or hunting in national or state forest land. Illegal marijuana operations are all over the place here east of the Mississippi. It's a big problem. And if you live west of the Mississippi, particularly in the Southwest, you are very likely to run into drug runners, illegal alien runners. I've got friends as far north as Utah who are always finding fresh sign of contrabandistas, drug smugglers, when they're out riding their 4x4s out in the desert. So whether or not you need to be prepared for that, that's something I'm going to leave up to you. But it is something to consider when you're out in the woods. As I said earlier, I like leather holsters, and I've got plenty of them. It's basically all I use for concealed carry. I use them for cowboy action shooting and other gun competitions. Uh, I use them at the range as a general purpose holsters. I like them, but I don't think they're a good choice for woods use. Leather is a rugged, beautiful material, but it's not great for a hunting holster because you're going to be out in the woods where branches and thorns are going to be scratching it up. You're likely to get caught in the rain or the snow. Leather just absorbs water. There are a lot of downsides to using leather for hunting. So for years, I've been using ballistic nylon, and I like these holsters from Uncle Mike's. So this is the holster I use with a revolver, and this is the holster that I use with the automatics. And it does exactly what I want it to do. It supports the gun. It holds it securely and safely, and it's not going to be damaged by thorns and sticks and driving downpours. It is basically going to stand up to all of that. Now, basically, the anchor for my field rig is a nylon gun belt with a lot of adjustment capability in it. And the beauty of this is, even though today it's pretty cold, it's snowing as you can tell, so I'm wearing an insulated coverall. During the summer I might just be using shorts and a t-shirt. Later in the winter, January and February, I might even have a heavier coat on over this insulated coverall. And in early hunting season, I'm just going to be wearing a lighter cotton coverall for squirrel hunting, or brush pants for bird hunting. So I like the fact that I can adjust this belt and bring it in and out depending on how much clothing I'm wearing. And this is a good solid holster. You can get it wet, you can do whatever you want, it'll dry out, it's always going to be fine, never going to get scratched up. So this is my basic revolver rig. In addition to a firearm, I think you should always carry a good knife with you when you're out in the woods. I always carry a pocket knife, but generally, if I'm out knocking around, I'll take this Cold Steel Master Hunter with me. It's got a Kydex sheath, and it's not a big knife, but it's big enough to do any chore that you're going to need a knife to do. But it's small enough not to get in its own way. So I think this is a good addition to your kit. Here's the full rig for the Model 13 revolver. There's the nylon belt, and Uncle Mike's holster for the gun, the Master Hunter knife, and then I carry spare ammo and an Uncle Mike's pistol slide that holds 6 rounds of ammunition. If I think I'm going to need more ammo, I've got this folding ammo wallet that has belt loops and goes right on the belt just like the slide, and it holds an additional 12 rounds. So if I need it, I can be carrying 18 rounds of ammo, and it really doesn't weigh very much. My field rig for the EAA Witness is essentially the same sort of thing. It's the same nylon gun belt, and Uncle Mike's holster for automatics, the same Master Hunter knife, and then I've got a pouch that holds 2 magazines. And since the magazines for this gun hold 14 rounds each, with this rig I've got 72 rounds of ammunition between the gun and the 2 spare magazines. Good to go, and that really should be sufficient to get you through any trip in the woods. So now you know what I use out in the field and why I use it. And hopefully that will help you determine what you need to use when you take a handgun out in the field as well. Good luck.